All right. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I am Allie Manning, creator of Food Science for Kids program, and I teach little ones from across the nation virtually science as it relates to food. And so I began this class or virtual series actually during the pandemic. I saw that there was a gap in food opportunities for children and really wanted to give them a mental outlet. So I created this program, and it has been such a joy to work with students 5 through 11 years old. So let's get into it today. I'm excited to be sharing some savory tarts and then some sweet tarts, Pop Tarts, that I think you all will enjoy and will absolutely help the children get into the kitchen and get involved and be more part of this cooking process. So let's go ahead and do some introductions now that I've done mine. Anybody want to go first?
Sure, hey. My name's Ms. Walker, and I teach in Shelby County Schools. I've been with Big Green for about 4 years now, and I help with our learning garden, and we're going to use some of those goodies today. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you.
I'm Andrea Campbell. I teach special ed at Barrett's Chapel, and we've had our garden for right at a year, and maybe a little bit longer, a couple of months longer. So we got to harvest once, which was exciting, and the kids really enjoyed it. And then COVID hit. So, but the garden's still growing. But I love cooking with kids. I think it teaches them so much. So I'm excited.
Great. Good to have you.
And my name is Evan Davis. I am a program coordinator with Big Green, which means I get to work with lots of teachers here in Memphis, specifically with their learning gardens. And Miss Campbell from Barrett's Chapel and Miss Walker from Craigmont are both teachers that I am lucky to work with. And they are some of our all-star teachers, so I'm really glad that they can join us today.
So let's go ahead and get started. We have our ingredients for our savory tart with us. So we should have some pie crust, some pre-made pie crust, and we'll only use one sleeve of that today. Then we're going to have either spinach or kale, or both if you have those. They are grown heavily in the South, and in our Big Green garden. So go ahead and chop your kale and spinach if you haven't already, and make sure to rinse it thoroughly. We should have 3/4 of a shallot or half an onion, whichever you prefer. Wonderful. Some ricotta cheese or feta, or you can have whatever you like. So I've got feta today. Awesome. So we're going to use a little bit of this. This is processed using milk and heat. So we've got some oregano, so herbs that are found that you can grow within, your home planters or in the garden, are ideal for this recipe. Some olive oil. I've got some here. A bit of cornstarch. Do we know what cornstarch helps with? Cornstarch is our thickening agent, so we're going to add a little bit of cornstarch, and then a sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are a great source of healthy vitamins and nutrients, and that is optional, but we're going to cook those up and add it to our tart today. So let's go ahead and get started with the process. So we've got our ovens preheated. I would suggest adding a piece of aluminum foil to a baking sheet, or you can add it directly to your baking sheet, but I like to use a little foil. The foil helps with the browning process for your dough. So you can pull your dough out of the fridge if you haven't already. All right, so we're going to unroll our dough gently. Yep. And I've got a bit of parchment, or you can put it on a counter or cutting board, and I'm just going to cut it in half. Okay. And what I like to do with this, once you cut it in half, just go ahead and leave it there because we're going to go ahead and start the cooking process of our spinach, kale, shallots in the pan. So if you've got a pan nearby, let's go ahead and pull that out, and we're going to add our spinach and our onion.
What kind of pan are we talking about?
So a saute pan. And we're going to put our heat on medium.
Do we need to put any olive oil or anything in it?
Yes, a little bit of olive oil will be fine. I'm going to go ahead and add my spinach and my onions. I'm going to add my onions first. So I've added my spinach and my kale. And I'm going to let that simmer for a minute. And while you're doing this, you can add your salt and pepper, garlic powder, whatever you desire as your seasoning. Okay, so while this is going, now is a good time to get your cornstarch. So we'll need about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and about 1/4 cup of water. Because we're going to add a bit of starch to our spinach mixture to thicken it up as a thickening agent. So we'll need our cornstarch and then a little bit of water, about 1/4 cup of water. So it's dissolved. If you need to cut the eye down on your stove, feel free to do that. Okay, so once that's dissolved, I'm going to cut my eye down to low. I don't know if you all have kale, but my kale takes a little bit longer to cook, so I want to make sure that it's tender. If you've only got spinach in there, you can go ahead and add your cornstarch now. And you want to make sure to stir it around in your spinach mixture so that it doesn't stick to the pan. You're going to immediately start to see it kind of thicken up the ingredients. So if you're done with that, let's go ahead and check on the potatoes.
It smells good.
It does.
So if your sweet potatoes are tender and you'd like to add it to your filling, you can do that now. If not, you can just do your own spinach feta mixture. So now you can cut your eye off so that the cornstarch doesn't start to build a film. And you can put it in if you've got a bowl nearby, you can go ahead and put it into a bowl because we're going to need this to cool off.
This looks so pretty.
It is. It's so good too. Nice fall tart.
Can you make them and then freeze them?
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, imagine having a savory Pop-Tart for lunch. Cool.
That's what I was thinking. Like, this would be awesome. Just go ahead and make the rest of it, and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Feel free to do that. While that is cooling, we can speed the process up a little bit if you all want to put it in the fridge. So while that cools off a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and prep. Oh, that looks good. That looks good, Danielle. So go ahead and put that in the fridge. Okay. So while we're waiting on that, we're gonna go ahead and prep our squares or rectangles for our filling. So you can do a triangular filling or rectangular filling or Pop-Tart, but I do the rectangles, so I'm gonna keep it classic. So the dough should be cut in half if it isn't already. Go ahead and do that. And then what I like to do is I like to cut off the rounded end. So I like to cut this to make it straight. So I want to make it look like a rectangle. And if the little ones are involved, I can use a knife with protection or a butter knife or even the edge of a fork to do this.
I think I'm going to do the triangle to be advantageous.
Okay, go for it. Go for it. So I've got the rectangle here, and then I'm going to cut that in half.
Looks like a good slice of pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. I'm glad somebody went with a different shape.
Yes. So I've got my 4 squares here. All right. So now I'm going to get a spoon, and I'm going to go ahead and check on my filling.
What all do you cook with the kids?
Oh, goodness. We've done about 30 experiments from baking muffins to making edible slime. We've done some growing experiments, so we've planted seeds. We've done quite a few reactions around carbonation and making butter, making ice cream in a bag. So we've done quite a lot of food science related experiments so that they're able to, really see how they can apply science to food. And obviously the Pop-Tarts were a great hit. We had one family that incorporated that into their Saturday routine. So it's such an easy way to find out what's in your food, like know directly what's in your food, and then also give them an opportunity to enjoy their favorite items and cut back on the added ingredients So yeah, that's just a few examples of it. And we've had families from Wisconsin to Florida, Texas, all over the place learn with me. So it's been fun. It has been fun.
I think when we cooked, the little bit that we cook, because we try to cook on Fridays for Fun Friday, like I think the parents are as excited about it as the kids. Like,
yeah.
They all get into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's go ahead and check it now and see where we are. Okay. Mine has cooled off a bit. So now we can go ahead and add our feta. So I eyeballed it last time. I can't talk. I eyeballed it. But you can add about a half a cup if you'd like, depending on how you like it. But half a cup is fine, quarter of a cup. So I've got my feta in there, mix it up. And I'm gonna add a bit of oregano. I like to kind of add my own touch to recipes. So, of course, we all have our different tastes. So go with as much or as little as you prefer. So now we're gonna add about a tablespoonful of filling into our first tart. Okay, so I've got
I'm making,
in the middle. Huh?
I've decided I'm making 2 of each.
Oh, good. Okay.
Smells so good.
It seems like you might have space for just two total. Because we're going to put the top on the dough that way.
Oh, okay. I thought we were folding it in half.
And you can fold it if you like. Totally up to you. But you have to minimize the filling that you put in so that it doesn't pop open. So before you close it up, you're going to add a little bit of water to the edges of your dough. And you'll need a fork to crimp the edges. So I use just a little paper towel, or you can actually just rub your finger along the edge. So water on the edges, and then I'm going to put my top layer on. Okay. Cover it up. Then I'm going to crimp the edges with my fork. The kids might like this part of it. So I'm going to make sure that I close it up. And if you like to cut off that rounded edge to make it straight, you can. So there's my savory tart. Ta-da! Oh, that looks good.
Yes,
That looks really good. All right, so I've got one triangular one and one rectangle. Okay, so we can go ahead and put them in the oven for about 15 minutes. And if your savory tart is cooked to your liking and mine is looking pretty brown, you can pull it out. And we'll let that cool. So here's mine.
All right, here is everybody's savory.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
We
it.
can taste it. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We waited long enough.
All right. Cheers.
Okay, let's do it.
You gonna eat it like a cow? Oh, I got the cheese. It's good.
I like it.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sweet potatoes in it.
What do you like, Miss Campbell?
The sweet potatoes in it? I like that.
I haven't had one yet. All I've had is the kale.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to bite into one.
Okay.
It's like, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a good way to get kids to try stuff that maybe they wouldn't normally try too. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it's mixed in with stuff.
I like it.
Here's a kale bite. Ooh, the kale is good too.
I know. I'm in utter disbelief.
I'm a big fan of this recipe.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. I'm so
This
glad
is
you
the
like it.
first time I've ever eaten sweet potato savory.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So how can we get you, or what would I need to do to get you to come to our classroom?
What happened?
So totally awesome. Like, this made my night.
Oh,
Not-
good.
Positive attitude.
Thank you all so much for attending. I hope you all enjoyed it. I definitely had like a little mini wrap up. But essentially that was it. Let me see. Before my computer died. And it gave me a warning too, but I didn't even listen. So really quickly, I'd like to do a quick little discussion. Obviously, you all said that you would like to implement these things into your weekly routine, or try it with family or friends. How do you see children being able to participate? Maybe if you all want to touch on that.
I
Well,
think
I definitely see a Saturday with all of the cousins.
Mm-hmm.
having sleepovers, and then taking some time out to, learn about a little science, a little health. And you could even add in recycling, because when we cut up our potatoes or skin them, when we pick the kale, the stems, like those are things that you can compost, even the eggshell. So you can throw in a little, a little composting. So I just think overall it's just good family time or good time with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I like it because you can make it like, so the population that I teach, like some of my kids are not going to eat strawberry jelly. So like, okay, if you're not going to do strawberry and you like grape, go for grape. If you don't like jelly, but you like Nutella, then you can do that. Like it lends itself to being differentiated, like through vegetables or through the jellies. That's what I like.
Absolutely. Definitely give them some variety and expose them to some new things. Like you said, Danielle, you had never had potatoes that weren't sweet, but that were savory, or had never had potatoes that were not sweet. So you're able to experience something different today, which is good. And then do you all kind of have a better idea what food science is? Like you all did everything a food scientist would do today and use many of the ingredients that we actually make. So that's good. And then how can you support your local farmer and eat healthier? So any thoughts on that?
Buy local.
Yes.
Yes, so today our sweet potatoes came from Tubby Creek Farm, and our kale came from Marla's Garden, which are both right here in Memphis. So we cooked with local ingredients. And also, I just want to say, I have a lot better idea of what food science is. I cook with things like cornstarch and water often, but I don't actually think about cornstarch as a thickening agent, and the process that I do things is actually important. So getting to do things step by step in a scientific way felt really cool today.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so good to hear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so what other recipes would you like to try? I think we talked about that, grape jam or Nutella. So I'm excited to see what you all come up with and how creative you can get with a simple Pop-Tart. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I hope to see you all and speak with you all again. Hopefully I can, pop in and chat with your students and do a lesson at some point. But think of me, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye.